So we're going to hear from Alina.
Yes.
Alina, Blankenship with Sky Guardian, Falconry.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. So she is going to speak to us how birds can help you with your buildings. Very cool. And then we're going to see the birds in here for a little bit. Then we're going to go outside if you want to follow the birds outside so they can fly around there and have a little demonstration. So do you want the mic?
She'll take it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So what does what does falcons have to do with what does falcons and hawks? Tap on it for him. He doesn't see it. We're going to send him back. We're not going to let him fly around the room extensively because we don't need him on the AV equipment. Here you go, little man. Get in there. Good boy. Dude, you missed. Sorry for the drama. Children and wildlife, they never do what you ask them to do. So what do falcons and hawks have to do with facility management? How many of your facilities have bird problems? What can you do about them? So some of your choices are you can do things that are called mimicry. You can pretend to be something you're not. And what that means is we can put lasers on and be so scary. We can put bobblehead owls. Right? We can use air cannons, propane cannons. All of those things are fakes, they're bluffs. How many times can I play 5-card Monte with you, keep ripping you off, before you said, I have had enough of this? Bluffs don't work we don't give these guys enough credit for their intellect. You're zipping down the highway and there's a crow there. The crow lazily goes like that. That's a pretty accurate threat assessment, isn't it? Ones that we're not capable of. It is why things that are mimicry fakes don't work. When we have a problem, we bring these guys on site. This is my avian security team. So just say you have crows they love the warmth of your HVAC systems. So they're spending time up there. And in the case of one of our clients, the ammonia is seeping into the ventilation system, which is a problem. We're able to go up there and use this predator to push them off that situation. They will never acclimate to a falcon. Because it's the same if I dropped you off in Africa and I said, don't you worry about that lion. You're afraid of that lion on day 232 as you were on day 1 because its lethal intent and lethal capability remain unaltered. How long do we have to be there? That's a question that we often get. Depends. So if we're protecting agriculture, we are there 7 days a week, dawn till dusk, from veraison to pick. In the case of blueberries, that might be 2 months, 3 months. In the case of utilities, it might be a lot less because the difference is when you're in a crop, you're protecting a jewelry store. You cannot protect the jewelry store on Monday, not on Tuesday, and expect anything there on Wednesday. Whereas if we are working at a facility, we're able to use these birds to increase your police enforcement. And we're able to send the message in the first week, and then we build a strategy of maybe a couple times a week, we taper off that enforcement. What we're going for is we want to teach those birds that they're not safe, and we want those birds to teach their babies that they're not safe. So a lot of our facilities experience a reduced problem year over year. At this point, blueberries are boring. It's the wild, wild west, all just dust bunnies and no birds to chase. It's very boring. Makes my hawk sad. So why do I have so many birds? I know you guys have seen a bunch of them. We need the right golf club for the swing. So if we're working on the top of your facility, because you guys are trying to work on your equipment up there, and the goals that have decided that that's a phenomenal house are dive bombing you, we can hang out up there with them, with our Doberman with wings. So we use the different species of birds who have their different capabilities, their different flight capabilities, personalities, and we use them in different capacities. Our customers also ask us for additional solutions. We can't have you here all the time, totally get it. So what we've done is we've partnered with some bird exclusion companies that also we can do installations, and they're not quite the spikes that you're familiar with. Spikes only work so far. It depends on the bird's investment. If the bird's highly invested in that location, you've all seen it, they'll move around the spikes. They'll sit on the bobblehead owl. Some of the strategies we've been able to employ are a hot wire, similar to how you keep your cow in. So a true, genuine penalty is delivered when the bird stands on there, although it does not harm them, because I know everyone here has stuck their tongue on a 9-volt battery. It doesn't hurt, but it's unpleasant. Do you guys have any questions while we're at it? Because I know I had, yes, what's your question? The hood is like putting your dog in a kennel. Once you put the hood on the bird, or you hoodwink them, because Shakespeare was quite fond of falconry. A lot of our terms, falconry terms, have entered into the English lexicon. The hood keeps them calm. We can have multiple birds. I think in one of this, you'll see multiple birds in the back of his truck. And we're able to transport a bunch of birds together. She's doing good. She's doing good. You guys have any other questions?
Do they ever fly away?
Great question. My birds are outfitted with both radio telemetry and GPS trackers, so we can locate them if they fly away. It does happen, especially in spring, because we might pick them up in California. Usually by another falconer, actually, because most falconers have pigeon lofts, and they go visit the falconer's pigeon lofts. And so they think it's fantastic. Great question. Great question. Great question. The reason that birds of prey get mobbed by other birds is as follows. You can break your leg, you can get a cast on, and you can get healed and walk with a limp, and you're still okay. If these guys are imperfect, they will not survive. They will die. So they can't afford injury. What happens is the crows might be a little more aerodynamic. Just like our crow that's stepping aside, everybody knows everybody else's flight capabilities, and they're able to operate on that. A falcon's a falcon is a falcon, so this one might be a little bit faster than that, but genuinely they understand what they're dealing with. I bring him out, the Harris hawk, who's not native to the species, he becomes an unknown. He frightens them even more than the big falcon because they think they know about him, and then he does something totally unexpected. It's the little 4'5" girl who tosses somebody else on their back because she's a black belt. And that we surprise them with those capabilities. But yes, they do fly away, but generally we get them back because we give them a good deal. This bird does not love me. It would eat me if it could. It's like a teenager and a cat. I have to give it a good value. And so we do that with food. We might have a little baby chick of falcon that we raise from a little white chicken. We carry it in our pocket for 20 years. But when we put it up for the season to molt to get the new feathers in there, we feed it as much as it wants. I'm not going in there. You go get it. I'm not going in there. The bird does not love me. It will attack me if I walk in there. So it's through food that we control them, and we just give them a good deal. It's a little bit like when they're chasing a bird, it's like an Omaha steak. It's big and delicious, but there's a lot of prep on that. We say, hey, baby, here, there's a slider over here, and we call them in for the quick fix. And that's what these guys are doing. They're coming in. This is up at for the Army Corps. This is a Dallas project. And the way that we're able to work on it, they have a gull, cormorant, heron, and pelican problem. This fish ladders, the herons go in underneath their nets, and they consume the fish. Over here, the gulls are eating the fish that are coming through the dam and being disoriented in the top of the water channel. So we're able to use our birds and push them off, being the bigger, meaner. The difference between, and so a lot of people will ask me, how do I just attract raptors to my facility, which is great, because you do want raptors. The difference is the level of enforcement. So when you're driving down I-5, and you see Fred pull over by OSP, you're like, bye, Fred, and you hit the accelerator. That is what it's like in wild when a wild falcon has taken prey. The other birds are like, whew, we're off the hook. When we're there, our vigilance and our aggression never ends. We're there all day with different birds being aggressive the whole time because they're not fed up. It's like driving through Troutdale, speeding there, where they train the OSP cadets to ticket, so you get a ticket every 5 minutes. Any other questions? What this falcon right here, this is what I call my winged border collie. She is gathering up those falcons, those starlings, and pushing them down to the grower that doesn't pay me. I mean, to the park. They like the park. It's a great spot for the starlings. Any other questions? Cool. Yes.
I think you talked about this a little bit outside, but are they always going to be hunting to kill or hunting as a deterrent?
Great question. This sport of falconry has been around since the Mesopotamians, 3,000 years that we've been able to track. And that is a lethal engagement. The definition of falconry is hunting wild quarry with a trained bird of prey. The outcome is lethal. We change that up. We use that skill set, and it's as if I fed you breakfast, no lunch. You come to dinner, you're like, I could eat if it's not too far away and it's not too much work. That's the state we keep these birds in. When I want to put game in the bag, I discharge my Harris Hawk instead of my Beretta, and I do that by having no breakfast, no lunch. Come dinner, whatever it is, I want to kill it. So that's how we maintain a non-lethal solution. Because starlings and some birds you can terminate, you can bring someone out to trap them and euthanize them, but most native species it's illegal to do so. And that is most birds except for starlings, sparrows and a few other species, the Eurasian dove and things like that. So it's illegal for you guys to harass them or to terminate them. Yes?
What kind of opposition do you get from different types of organizations?
We get surprisingly little opposition because of what we are supplanting. Up at the Army Corps project, we're supplanting the USDA on boats shooting pyro from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the homeowners hate that. So that's one of the things we're supplanting. Where we get pushback, of course, is anybody who owns even a dog, is some of the animal rights groups think it's inappropriate and unfair to them. We do try and demonstrate that the bird is free and has wings and I do not, and is able to make those decisions for themselves. Great question. Any other questions? God, I'm really good at this. I answered all your questions.
How'd you get into this line of work?
By accident, my ignorance. I was a book publisher until about 15 years ago, and a friend of mine calls and there was a bird banging itself in her garage, and what do I know? I simply have more nerve than she does. So I threw my coat over and trapped the bird, and again, my ignorance of not knowing the species, I scoured the internet to find what this yellow-eyed bird was, and it's a juvenile Cooper's hawk. But I'm like, what's this falconry? And you don't have to be special or nothing. Licensing and training, it's licensed by Fish and Wildlife. We are heavily licensed and regulated, and it's trained the old way, master to apprentice. Somebody said, oh, this guy's hiring, I didn't know this existed, that someone's hiring to do this thing called falconry abatement. Oh, that'll make me so much better as a falconer. I'll get more touches on the bird. And flying 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, makes you a better falconer. True statement. And I just love it. So I've kind of left everything else I did. And then our earlier speaker, our keynote, is talking about, your passion and what gets you excited. Who would have thought? I mean, I definitely didn't go to school and say, hey, you know what I want to be? An abatement falconer. Yes?
Also owls in the video, owls.
Those are my education birds. That particular one is my Ruger. But so I do have owls that I hold the same licenses, Audubon, to be able to do education. We're able to take these birds and show why you should care. That great horned owl is a unicorn. Unicorns are really cool and pretty. You've seen them in a book, but you don't care because they're over there. When I go to a school child or even the adults and they're yellow eye with this bird, it switches something over there. It makes them look up and it makes them care and it changes their behavior. So one of the things we really try to do with our clients is do a lot of PR. We'll do photo shoots, we'll do whatever interviews they request, and we'll talk to the community, we'll go to schools, we'll do whatever it takes to get community buy-in. Because everyone thinks it's great, it's sustainable, it's effective. So generally we generally don't have that much opposition to this strategy. Our biggest opposition is people don't know about it. And the other biggest opposition is labor pool. There's probably about 100 professional falconers in the country. So it is a narrow market. And it works, and you can, like I said, you can utilize it for a short period of time or you can utilize it for a long period of time. JFK's had a falconer there for 30 years.
So what is the different clucking, ticking?
The noises I make?
So like, is it a sequence? Is it what are they honing in on?
It's just whatever, you can make whatever sound you want, it's what they're trained to. When I cluck, it means he has food immediately. I never lie to him. When I whistle, could go either way. Yeah.
regions, how many times using the falcon together?
It really depends on the investment in the location. Is it a roosting location, i.e. they spend the night? Is it a feeding location? Is it a nesting location? They're all different locations. You've got to evaluate what the problem is before you can address it. And sometimes what we've done for clients like Gelwin and things like that, we'll go in and we'll hit them with everything. We'll trap them and remove them. We'll set exclusions so they're unable to roost there, and we'll use the falcons the whole time we're there as well to say, this is a really bad neighborhood. You guys want to move out of this one. Crime rate's gone off the charts. Any other questions? Well, I'm going to take the birds out if anyone wants to go with me. Yes? Yep. Even, so I have an itty-bitty little falcon here. I have my chihuahua, as I call her. Come here. This is North, by the way. Isn't she a pretty girl? You gotta put your wings in. Dude. She is called a gyrfalcon, so she is native to Alaska and then keep heading north, but she is considered an Oregon native bird because ducks taste just as good in Corvallis as they do in Sitka. So agave here, this little jumpy bird like my Jack Russell, she moves geese. She moves more geese than the big gyr. She moves pelicans. And again, it's about that flight style. It's the way she presents herself in the air. The pelicans find her terrifying. I'm like, what are you going to eat its toe? But they find her terrifying. They are hardwired to be afraid of the falcon silhouette. I'm going to take the hawk out. He's the most dependable in this environment. But everybody who gets to fly, it's just which environment do we have? He'll move geese as well. And we actually bring a dog on site with us. I have an English Cocker Spaniel, and they are partners in crime. So they work together everywhere we do. My dog loves chasing geese and serving them up to him. So what she's going to do is she's going to run ahead. She's going to get them in the air, and he's going to chase them down. So.
So what do you do when a goose is considerably larger?
You can take him if I gave you bladed weapons. My 1 pound peregrine falcon can kill a 5 pound duck. This little girl can take a hen pheasant. Not kidding. She hasn't had the opportunity yet, but she's killed a bunch of chukar. She's itty bitty, but she has bladed weapons, 8 of them actually. So its size doesn't always matter. Yeah.
Male versus female, are there?
Great question. There is a huge difference between males and females in size. Females are larger than males. For falcons, I love females, hate males. Because the females are just honest, they're big and mean. And the males are always afraid because they're the ones always getting bullied. But with the hawks, I haven't noticed that difference. We got that hawk as a male because we needed him, his smaller body side, to be a little more nimble in facilities. So there is a great question. Who would have thought? What was your question?
Yeah, I was going to say, if a child would want to get something like this, what would be the...
So the age to begin in falconry is the age of 14. You want to go to the Oregon Falconers Association. And they'll pair you, I'm the director for this region, and we'll take you out and we'll take you hunting, because that's the first start. People need to have a stomach for it. This is this is blood sport. Bunny scream. What's your question?
As a technologist, I just got to say, AI, big data, falcons, fast. Falconry as a service. It can be the next big thing.
It's perfect. And why? So that's a fair question, actually. It's a fair statement to transition. Is there are companies using AI or using drone showing like eagles and stuff like that. And they work great at first. If you go out, you've heard a noise, you've gone out, and you see a silhouette in there that looks like a man, and it's just a mop, you react, but then you discern. The same thing, the biggest thing we have that the drones don't is our unpredictability. Even the drones, even the skilled operator, eventually the birds get acclimated to it because nothing bad happens. If you launch missiles off there, that would work great.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so how many regions are falconers in? I'm from Houston, so
They're Texas falconers, and falconers are like beekeepers. There's a bunch of them who are nomadic, and they'll follow crops. And that's how they make their life and living. They either camp on site, they get an RV, because we are working with the sunrise and we're there until the sunset when we're doing ag. So it's much nicer not having to do ag all the time. I need my beauty rest. Any other questions? All right.
Do you breed them?
My partner does, my business partner does. So I haven't done that. Yes, Agave. My big mean one, isn't she a brute? She's terrifying. There you go, my love. See, I made it within my time. Woohoo! I don't want to keep people from happy hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hawk outside if anybody wants to fly with us.